David, it is wonderful to see you again. I feel I know you really well.
Thank you, Maria. That is, it's always great to talk to a fan and a friend.
Yeah, well, I feel I know you well because I've been stalking you. Look, I've got both your books, I do your courses, love your work. Look at this. Look at this. If you listen,
Amazing.
if you're listening in the podcast, I've just held up Do It Marketing and Do It Speaking, and we'll talk about those, I'm sure, a bit more. But David, before we get into that, because you work with entrepreneurs, solopreneurs a lot, what decided you to become an entrepreneur yourself?
Well, Maria, like most entrepreneurs, I had a corporate life. And like most entrepreneurs with a corporate life who decide to leave, I had a terrible, terrible boss. So I went from having the best. So I did 10 years of corporate consulting, working for big management consulting firms, technology consulting firms. And the folks that are in corporate or have some corporate experience know what I'm talking about next. This was my fourth corporate reorganization. And I went from having the best boss that I've had in my career to having the worst boss that I've had in my career. The best boss that I had was also right down the hall from me here in Philadelphia, where I live. And I stayed in the Philadelphia office, but my new boss was in Canada. So not only was she a horrible human being, she was a horrible human being who was far away. And I will tell you the pivotal story that in my head, I said, okay, that's it. I quit. So like most road warrior consultants, I'm traveling, I'm submitting my expenses. You have the hotel bill, the restaurant bill, the parking bill. Even locally, I was going to see clients in Philadelphia and New Jersey and Delaware and so forth. One day, she says to me, David, call me. So I call her and I say, what's up? I want to talk about your last expense report. Okay, what about my last expense report? Says here you paid $21 for parking. And most of our other consultants that go to that facility, they pay $19 for parking. Why are you parking in the $21 lot?
Oh my
And
goodness.
it was one of these situations, Maria, where I'm looking for the hidden camera. I'm looking for the, is this the Terrible Bosses 3? Are we doing the sequel? Here's what I said to her. I said, I don't think you're giving me enough credit, because if I were to embezzle from this company, if I were to cheat on my expense report, trust me, it would be for more than $2. It would be more than $2. That's the moment in my head. I'm like, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm done. I'm gone. And that's what prompted me to start this business in January of 2002.
Wow. Well, let's hope she's not listening, or maybe we hope she is.
We hope she is.
Yeah. But you know what's interesting as well, though, David, you say that is I think most people join a company and leave a manager. It's true. You do that, and sometimes even the good managers turn bad in the right circumstances. So that's fascinating. That's a different discussion, probably over a glass of vino. Let's
Right.
let's focus. Yeah, let's move on quickly before I get myself into trouble. So. What do you think is the hardest part to building a successful speaking business? I'm going straight for the jugular there, straight for the hard-hitting question.
Right. Well, this is what I thought when I left my company. I was like, I know how to speak. I know how to train. I know how to run a seminar. How hard can it be? Maria, how hard can it be? I found out how hard it can be, because once you're an entrepreneur, unlike an employee, it's not about doing the work. It's about getting the work. And the marketing part and the sales part totally just threw me back on my heels. And I was like, oh, this isn't as easy as it was cooked up to be. I have to learn how to do lead generation. I have to learn how to do prospecting. I have to learn how to have conversations with economic buyers. And that was a whole new world for me, whole new world. And I'll admit, like most entrepreneurs, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I love the work of the work. And by the way, this is our best clients today, of course, say the exact same thing. David, I love the work of my work. I love my clients. I love speaking. I love training. I love coaching. I just don't like the marketing and sales part. And you have to do the marketing and sales part so that you get to do what you love to do. If nothing gets sold, you're going to be a very lonely, very broke speaker.
You are absolutely right. I wrote that sentence down because I like that. It's not about doing the work, it's about getting the work. It's so about getting the work. And you can try and give somebody else that job to do, but actually you've got to know how to do it yourself. You really have. So, I see you as a marketing expert. So I'm going to ask you because there's so many different definitions and descriptions for marketing. In its simplest form, what does marketing mean for you, specifically regarding marketing speakers?
Sure. Well, I think any speaker who's listening who really doesn't like marketing or this whole topic makes them itchy, makes them nervous, I encourage people, you can take the word marketing out of your vocabulary, replace it with four new words. The four new words are offer value, invite engagement. Offer value, invite engagement. So I will ask a speaker, I will ask a consultant or a coach, how do you feel about helping people? Oh, I love helping people. Maria, helping people is fantastic. Helping people is why I got into this business. Okay, great. How do you like inviting people to engage with you? I love inviting people to engage with me. That's like my favorite thing. It's like respond, reply, like, share. What do you think? Let's kick some ideas around. Okay. So if you love those two things, you love offering value and you love inviting engagement, every piece of marketing, every piece of sales, every piece of sales outreach is a version of offer value, invite engagement, and then after that engagement, get very comfortable inviting people to a conversation about how you can help them. That is the sales process. Very simply, are you inviting on a daily and weekly basis? Are you inviting enough people to a conversation about how you can help them? Not sell to them, not pitch to them, not take their money, not be a spammer, not be annoying, not be a salesperson and push your products on them, but really have a collaborative, deep dive, trusted advisor, diagnostic conversation about what's going on in their world, what's going on in their company, what's going on at their meeting, what's going on at their corporation, and how you can help. If you do that enough times, you will make all the money that you want to make as a speaker and as a trainer and as a consultant.
I love that. That's a masterclass in an answer. That is just superb. It really, I offer value, invite engagement, have a conversation, how you can help them. It's a diagnostic conversation. That is just genius. So I think you might have covered your main concepts really, because in your do it marketing, you've got first of all, let me ask you, why is it 77 instant action ideas? You've got 77 for your do it speaking as well. What's special about the number 77 before I ask you a bit more about the content?
So I will, it's a great question. And no one ever asks this question, by the way. So I love giving the answer. I was writing the Do It Marketing book back, 7, 8 years ago. And originally that wasn't the subtitle. Originally it had some other subtitle. And my publisher says, can you put a number in the subtitle? And I said, why? She says, well, not so much in the US and Canada, but overseas, the foreign to us, right? The foreign market, they love numbers, 101 strategies, 37 tips, 53 ways to do this, 7 habits of highly effective people, et cetera, et cetera. So so the book is written in micro chapters. It's written in kind of quick bites, short takes. And so I'm counting how many of these I have because I'm trying to come up with a number for the publisher. And there's 75. I'm like, well, 75 doesn't sound very exciting. And 7's a lucky number. When you're in the casino, you want to see 777, right? So I said, let me either, I think I took 1 and I broke it up into 2 and then I added 1 to get to 77. I just like the ring of 77. So that's how Do It Marketing became 77 instant action ideas to, et cetera. And then the Do It Speaking book, we kept the same strategies, 77 instant action ideas to market, monetize, and maximize your expertise. So it's just become sort of a thing. And in fact, let me show you here on my desk. Hang on, it's coming. 77's become my magic number. Sorry for the video people. The podcast people didn't see that. So I'm starting to collect 77. So this was at a antique sale. This was actually a hotel key fob to room number 77. So I have this on my desk. Anytime something is 77, I will take a screenshot. There's a bourbon that you can't see, that the bottle is up here behind me. It also has 77 on the label. So 77's become my lucky number, Maria. That's the bottom line.
Fantastic. I like that. I like that. 77. Brilliant. So obviously there's quite a lot of content here. And I do love the fact that it's micro chapters because you can pick up little tips. I really like that. Tell me a bit more about the key concepts in the book.
Well, it's funny that you say that. Doug Burdett, who has a fantastic podcast called the Marketing Book Podcast, he only has marketing book authors. He says, David, ordinarily I try and summarize the ideas in the book. With your book, that's impossible. There is no way to summarize all of these ideas, because think of it like little micro bites, right? Most business books, and I love business books. I read 30, 40 business books every single year for the last 10 years. Most business books have between 7 and 10 big picture ideas, whether it's Malcolm Gladwell, whether it's Oprah, whether it's pick your favorite guru, Tony Robbins, whomever. 7 to 10 big picture ideas that people can repeat and refer. And oh my gosh, wasn't the chapter on this concept wonderful? Because I have 77, and like you say, it's almost like it's like a website in between the covers of a book. It's random access. You can jump from here to there. You can hyperlink yourself and just go right to the section that's of importance to you. He said, your book is so good, it's impossible to summarize. So think of it as a reference guide. When you're worried about pricing, flip to the pricing section. When you're worried about positioning or messaging, go to those sections of the book. When you're worried about, well, gosh, I've got a referral. How do I make sure that my referral partners know what I do and I'm getting referred the right way, etc.? Go to those chapters. When you're looking at sales or outreach, we have a whole section of the book called the S word, because the S word is so scary. It's sales is the S word. So everything that you want to know about sales and sales scripting and sales approaches and how not to come across as a desperate, needy spammer. So I, just like Doug, I have a hard time summarizing my own book because I really wrote it to be more of an encyclopedic reference guide to everything that you need to market a professional services business.
Brilliant. It's a reference guide, and it is. And I've done that before, actually. I've sort of, dipped in and out, especially in the marketing side, because the marketing for me has such a good book, such a good book. And you repeated the genius with your speaking book. So tell me, you work with speakers, we know, you work with consultants, and you help them to get better clients and bigger deals. Give us some tips on how you do that, or share some of the strategies you use. We're all curious.
Sure.
We're all leaning in now.
Sure. Well, it's funny. I think the number one key to getting better clients and bigger deals and higher fees, it's about positioning and messaging. Because so many people, they're what I call same-o, lame-o speakers, meaning that they look the same, act the same, sound the same as every other speaker that either does what they do or says that they do what they do. And people are reluctant to stand out from the crowd. They're reluctant to be different. And so we have parts of the book talk about articulation and distinction, or A and D. So instead of having an R&D department, which is research and development, you as a speaker, you need to develop your A&D department, your articulation and distinction. Articulation is simply, how do you talk about what you do so that people lean in and go, oh my gosh, Maria, we have to bring you into our company. That's awesome. That's amazing. I need that. In fact, I know 3 other people who need that. Would it be okay if I sign up for your program and I bring 3 of my friends? Yes, it would be okay. So that's the articulation part. The distinction part is, how are you cooler, better, faster, smarter than any competitor or any alternative? The key to all of this, Maria, is to be willing to be different. So when we talk about, what's the role of a professional speaker, or even any sort of professional problem solver, I like to think of all of our folks in our professional speaking brotherhood and sisterhood. They're not really professional speakers. They're professional problem solvers. What are you willing to do and say that others don't, won't, can't, or are afraid to? So here's what I mean by that. What are you willing to say and do that others don't, just because it hasn't occurred to them or they haven't thought that deeply about your subject, whatever your subject might be? They won't, because they don't have the experience or the expertise or the background or the war stories that you have, or they're afraid to, because it's like, oh, that's a taboo subject. So again, going back to my thought leadership platform, I'm famous for saying things like branding is BS. I don't believe in branding. I don't believe in branding consultants. I think branding is a whole bunch of hooey. And people, I've gotten hate mail for this. I've gotten all kinds of, negative comments for this, in addition to the hugely positive. Yes. Oh my God, I've wasted so much money on branding. Yes. Preach, brother, and speak the truth and go out there. So is what you're doing a professional irritant? When we talk about articulation and distinction, our job as speakers who stand out from the crowd is the same as that little grain of sand that goes in the oyster to make the pearl. Are you a professional irritant? Because if you're not willing to turn some people off, you will never turn anybody on, and you will be lost in the sea of sameness, and then you'll be a vendor and a commodity. So last point on this, Maria, a lot of speakers complain that meeting planners and conference producers and corporate executives are commoditizing them. They're taking them for granted. I will tell you that clients and prospects do not commoditize speakers. Speakers do a pretty darn good job of commoditizing themselves when they play it safe and they fall into that sea of sameness and become a same-o-lame-o speaker. So you have to stand out. You have to stand out with your articulation. You have to stand out with your distinction. In fact, that's what distinction means, right? Is you're distinct, you are different than everyone else who says that they do what you do.
I love that. I love that. And I mean, I ran a speaker bureau for many, many years. And the thing is, the speakers that you recommend and the speakers that you remember are the ones that had something distinctive about them, and that you could talk about. So, the articulation that you had, they gave you a narrative, or you created a narrative around them. So completely agree with that. So why do we struggle so much with marketing?
I think a lot of speakers just misunderstand what marketing really is. So you walk in a room full of speakers. This will be a fun experiment for everyone listening. The next time that you find yourself in a room full of speakers, just go around as you're networking, as you're hobnobbing with people, and say, what's your definition of marketing? And you will hear everything from, oh, marketing. I don't like marketing. Marketing is cold calling. Other people's like, well, marketing is social media. Marketing is blasting out a whole bunch of emails and spamming the universe. Marketing is, quote unquote, getting my name out there. I have no idea what getting my name out there really means. I've never made money by getting my name out there, but people think, oh, it's about getting your name out there. Marketing is about networking, and I really don't like meeting strangers, and I don't like handing out business cards. So marketing isn't for me. So literally, this is like the old metaphor that we're all feeling different parts of the elephant, and one feels the trunk, and one feels the ear, and one feels the body, and one feels the big feet, and no one really knows what marketing is. Marketing is the process of getting prospects to be aware of the problems that you solve. And again, let's go back to our 4 famous words. In that conversation, offer value, invite engagement. So where does marketing end and where does sales start? Once you've got the initial voice-to-voice, face-to-face, Zoom-to-Zoom, screen-to-screen conversation going, now you're in a sales mode. Everything in the lead generation, client attraction, getting them to call you, you call them, you connect on social media, you connect via email, you connect, whatever. Everything that stops there, that's where marketing stops and sales begins. So really, it's funny because a lot of people say, well, David, do you ever talk about sales or sales training or sales methodology? Because the only thing I hate more than marketing, Maria, is selling. And I say, I wouldn't be a very good consultant if I took you to the door, helped you open the door, but did not help you walk through. So everything that we teach is probably 70% marketing. And then the final 30% that stands between you and a paycheck, that 30% is sales. And we teach all of that process as well. So I think people misunderstand what it is. They have different definitions of it. They think it's cold. They think it's spammy. They think it's pushy. They think it's one-to-many. Here's another aha moment for people. Marketing is about one-to-one conversations, period, end of sentence. Nothing good will ever happen to a speaker financially outside of a conversation. I can almost tell without even looking at it, without looking at your website, without looking at your collateral materials, without looking at your video or your one sheet. I could ask you one question right now. How many conversations with buyers have you had in the last 7 days? And based on your answer, I can pretty much guess how successful you are financially. The people that go, oh, I talked to one buyer maybe last month. That person is not going to be as financially successful as the one that says, you know what, I talk to 3 or 4 buyers every single day, either on email or LinkedIn or in a real conversation on Zoom, on the phone. I contact the enemy, quote unquote. And by the way, they're not the enemy, they're your friend, but we, contact with the enemy at least 3 or 4 times a day. So if you're doing it 3 or 4 times a day, you will have a thriving, successful speaking business. And if you don't, there's room for improvement.
Any business, David, any business. If you're not talking to your customers and to prospects, then what are you doing?
That's a
Seriously.
great question. Seriously, right?
What are you doing? That's what it's all about. So you mentioned earlier on, you mentioned thought leadership, and a lot of people, say that they are thought leaders, and they feel that that's what's needed. Some of them don't really understand that. But tell me a little bit about what it takes and how important it is to be a thought leader in a given industry.
Well, it's funny that label of thought leader, we never want to apply to ourselves, right? That's up to the market. That's up to other people to call us a thought leader. What's really important for folks listening is, are you engaging in what might be considered thought leadership marketing? So thought leadership marketing is all about how are you getting your ideas in the marketplace where they can help prospects. We have this concept that I talk about a lot on webinars and live streams and everything called happy meal marketing. So think about your clients. Your clients get a beautiful 7-course meal. This is the metaphor. Your clients get a beautiful 7-course meal, the white linen tablecloth, the 3 kinds of wine glasses, the 4 kinds of forks, that little weird knife that no one knows, is this for the fish or is this for butter? It's for the fish, in case you're curious. Anyway, that's what clients get. If you do thought leadership marketing the right way, everyone else who comes into contact with your marketing should get a Happy Meal. Happy Meal, of course, popularized by McDonald's. It's the little hamburger, the little fries, the little drink. Chips in the UK, but you get the idea. So no one leaves your house hungry. The idea is that if you're a speaker and you're doing true thought leadership marketing, even people who consume your marketing should be somehow better off. They should have gained something. They should have learned something. They should be able to implement something just by getting their hands on your marketing material. What do I mean by marketing material? The emails that you send, the blogs that you post, the videos on your YouTube channel, the posts that you put on LinkedIn. Are they promotional or are they valuable? I would say stop talking about yourself and how awesome and amazing and fantastic you and your programs are, and start helping your clients before any money changes hands. And we talk about this a lot, Marie. We talk about this with clients. We talk about this on our free content, which is everyone that's listening, I'm sure, does a fantastic job with clients. Once I write you a check, you are going to be massively helpful to me. We call that post-sale value. After the sale, you are incredibly valuable. I'm going to challenge everyone listening to increase your pre-sale value. How valuable are you? How much are people listening to you, following you, connecting with you, implementing your ideas before anyone writes you a check? Because the more pre-sale value that you put into the marketplace, and specifically that you put into one-on-one conversations with your economic buyers, and you point them to all of this pre-sale value, the faster those people will buy. So everyone's great at doing the post-sale value. We are often not good at all in putting enough pre-sale value into the marketplace. And that's really the heart of thought leadership marketing.
I'll tell you what, David, you give so much pre-sale value, absolutely incredible. And even when you sign up to one of your programs, you then give bonus before it's even started. So you personify everything you talk about, which is really wonderful. I love that. So,
Thank you.
so here's another big question for you. I do like giving you the big questions. Do you think that anybody can become a successful speaker if they've had the right training and they've got the right mindset?
Well, that's the key, isn't it? So can anyone become a successful speaker? My answer is no. It's an anti-motivational answer, like, oh, come on, you can do it. Everyone can do it. Everyone can be awesome and amazing. But you totally hit it with your add-on question, given the right mentoring, the right training, and the right mindset. So people that are listening, if you think you can do this on your own without Maria's help, I am telling you, you can't. If you think, oh, I'll just figure this out, I'll consume all of Maria's free content, I'll subscribe, I've listened to every one of her podcast episodes. Think about it this way. I can write a beautiful cookbook and I can hand you all the ingredients, all the steps, the complete recipe. That does not make you a gourmet chef. You need the coaching, the mentoring, the conditioning, the direction, the accountability. So please, this is the one mistake. Whenever people ask me, David, what's one thing you regret about your entrepreneurial journey? I have been a huge, huge investor in my own mentoring, in my own coaching, in my own personal and professional development. But that's only the last 10 years of my business. The first 10 years of my business, I was a dummy and I didn't invest in anything, thinking, oh, I can figure this out on my own. I'm smart, I'm capable, I know what's going on. And I knew nothing of what was going on. And that hubris and that ego, I shudder to think, now we're running a multi-seven-figure business today. I shudder to think where we would be if I had invested in the coaching and the mentoring and the consultants and the trusted advisors that I invested in the last 10 years in my first 10 years. I just didn't do it because I just figured, well, how hard can it be? I found out in a really brutal kind of way how hard it can be. And the moment that I invested in mentoring, because I'm supremely coachable. And Maria, I know that every great coach and every great consultant is also a great consumer and a great benefactor of coaching and consulting. Otherwise, we couldn't possibly do what we do. We couldn't possibly teach what we teach. We couldn't possibly believe the things that we believe. That, hey, you give me a ton of money and I will help you be incredibly successful. Why do I believe that? Because I have given people what I at that time considered a ton of money, and they helped me leapfrog my business. So if there's one regret, it's not connecting with fantastic people like Maria early enough, soon enough, and do it before you think you're ready. Do it, but say, oh no, like I'm brand new, I'm not ready. My friends, you are ready. You are ready for the mentoring. You are ready for the coaching. You are ready for the results acceleration. The only person holding you back is sitting in your chair right now. I'm ranting about this because I feel so strongly about it. If I could turn back the hands of time and do one thing differently in my business, it would truly be hiring the mentors and the coaches before I thought, quote unquote, I could afford it. Turns out I couldn't afford not to do it, if that makes sense, right? I couldn't afford not to do it. When I didn't do it, it cost me more in results than if I had done it way earlier than I actually did.
That is just the best bit of advice, and I follow that. I absolutely invest in myself as well, and the same as you, I read lots of books. I've got all my books in alphabetical order here so I can find them again, so I can revisit. Totally agree with you. I was very lucky because when you're running a speaker bureau, you've got access to some of the best brains around, and they're happy to help you because the more you know about them and their work, the more likely you are to book them. So I had some fantastic advice through the years, and it was only when I left the bureau that I had to start paying for it.
Right.
But I don't, it's absolutely money well spent. You learn, it accelerates things for you, doesn't it? And allows you to go in the right direction. And certainly I would have gone in completely the wrong direction had I not it would sought that advice. So that's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Okay, another toughie, seeing as you're doing so well here. What would you tell a speaker who doubts their abilities?
Wow, well, that's a whole episode right there on its own. But I will tell you, self-doubt, and this goes by several different names, right? The imposter syndrome and self-doubt, self-esteem, self-worth, call it what you want. Self-doubt is a choice. I'm going to pause there for dramatic effect. Self-doubt is a choice. So is certainty, so is self-confidence, and so is clarity in the value that you deliver. Clarity in the value that you deliver. So we can always listen to two little voices in our heads. And this is the old cartoon about the two little figurines on your shoulder. One is wearing the red devil costume, and one is wearing the little white angel costume with the halo, right? The little red devil I call the voice of judgment. The voice of judgment's constantly whispering in our ear, hey, you're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You've never done that. You've never gotten that fee. Who in the world are you to be on that big stage and be preaching and ranting and blah, 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 blah. On the other shoulder is where your attention should be. That little angel character is the voice of objective intelligence, telling you that you are good enough, you are smart enough, you have all this past success, all this past experience, all this expertise, all this contribution, that you are fantastically amazing, that people need to hear your message, they want to hear your message, and you are here to improve what your clients and audiences are doing when it comes to your topic area. So the challenge for all of us is to turn the little devil character down to about a volume 2 and turn the little angel character up to an 8 or a 9 or a 10. We are never, ever, ever going to get rid of that voice of judgment. It's going to be your lifetime companion till the day you die. You choose, however, do I listen to the voice of judgment and be my own worst enemy, or do I listen to the voice of objective intelligence and do some intelligent self-coaching? What I tell my clients and audiences all the time is there are enough forces working against you in this world. There really are. Don't be one of them. Don't be one of them. Don't add to that noise. At least be your own best advocate and spend more time listening to that voice of objective intelligence.
I love that. I love that. What I've done actually, David, is I've got a file on my computer which I've called praise. And whenever I get a good testimonial and feedback that somebody's done something that I suggested and they've got a great result, I put it all in there. And when I'm having a bad day and that little devil's being a bit too loud, I just go in and I start reading and I think, oh my goodness, I forgot about that and I forgot about this, and it just brightens my day. I'm sort of thinking I might wallpaper the walls with them. I don't know.
Absolutely. That file is really important. And all the thank you notes and all the letters and all the speech evaluations and course evaluations, the good ones, throw the bad ones away. But all of that tangible proof that you are awesome, amazing, and fantastic, we need to be revisiting that frequently. It's not a once a year thing. It might be a once a week, once a month kind of thing, just to keep your headspace in the right direction.
Fantastic. I can't revisit the bottles of champagne or the boxes of chocolates because they've gone. They get consumed very fast. So, David, what is your final piece of advice that you would like to share with us? Because I'm sure that there's so much. What's one thought you'd like to leave us with?
I think when it comes to delivering real value in the marketplace as a speaker and as a professional problem solver, the mantra that will help you the most is serve before selling and help before pitching. So this is not a pitching and selling business, and it's not a persuading and convincing business. It is a filtering and sorting business. So you get to choose your next client. You get to choose your next audience. You get to choose the kind of work that you do and the kind of fees that you're willing to take. And so stop accepting things that you don't want. And just remember the mantra, serve before selling and help before pitching.
That's lovely. I love that. And David, people will have listened to this and they'll think, I need David's help. I want to get bigger fees. I want to get better clients. What's the best way for people to find you online? And do you have any resources that you can share with them?
Yes, of course. So the main website is simply doitmarketing.com. We do have two fantastic resources that I'll give you direct links to. One is our marketing manifesto. That's at doitmarketing.com/manifesto. And the other is our free web training that you can access at doitmarketing.com/webinar.
Fantastic. That's really generous. David, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. I've really enjoyed this.
This was tremendous, Maria. Thank you for having me on.
Pages of notes to review later. But anyway, thank you everybody for listening to Speaking Business Podcast. I hope you will listen again next week. Please do give a five-star rating if you've enjoyed it, and make sure you grab a copy of Do It Marketing, Do It Speaking, the manifesto, and listen to the webinar. Thank you all. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.